High in the mountains of Java, nestled among emerald rice paddies and shrouded in mist, lay the village of Kampung. Life was simple, ruled by the rhythms of the earth. Overseeing it all was Ki Joko, the village shaman. He was revered and feared in equal measure. His eyes held the wisdom of generations past. His touch could mend bones and soothe souls. But there was a darkness beneath the surface, a power that whispered of forgotten gods. The villagers came to him for healing and guidance. But even in the heart of devotion, fear finds fertile ground. Whispers began to circulate, carried on the wind through the bamboo groves. Tales of strange chanting emanating from Ki Joko's hut deep in the night. Glimpses of unfamiliar symbols etched onto the very earth around his dwelling. Farmers, their crops failing, muttered of curses spoken under a hunter's moon. Mothers clutched their children a little tighter when Ki Joko passed, their eyes filled with a mixture of reverence and apprehension. The line between gratitude and fear, once clearly drawn, began to blur like ink in the rain. The village elder, Pak Harto, a man stooped with age but with eyes that still burned bright, tried to quell the unease. Ki Joko, he insisted, was a protector, a conduit to the spirits who watched over them. But even his reassurances rang hollow in the face of the growing disquiet. Then, on the night of a blood-red moon, Sari disappeared. Young, vibrant Sari, with a smile that could light up the darkest corners of the forest. One moment she was there, helping her mother prepare the evening meal, the scent of ginger and lemongrass filling the air. The next, she was gone, vanished without a trace. Panic seized the village. Torches blazed, their flames licking at the encroaching darkness as villagers scoured the rice paddies, the riverbanks, the dense jungle that pressed in on all sides. They called her name until their voices were hoarse, but the only answer was the mournful cry of a night bird. Days turned into nights, hope withering with each passing hour. Sari's parents, their faces etched with grief, refused to believe she was gone. They clung to the hope, however faint, that she was still out there, somewhere, lost but alive. Just when all hope seemed lost, a miracle, or perhaps something far more sinister, unfolded. A faint cry, weak but unmistakable, pierced the pre-dawn stillness. It seemed to emanate from the forest's edge near the base of an ancient banyan tree, its roots gnarled and twisted like the limbs of a slumbering demon. The villagers converged on the spot, their hearts pounding in unison with the frantic chirping of cicadas. There, half buried in the soft earth, her eyes wide with terror, lay Sari, alive but barely. Her body was covered in a thin layer of dirt, her breathing shallow and ragged, but she was alive. As they gently lifted her from the earth, Sari's lips moved, forming a single chilling word, Joko. The name hung in the air, heavy with accusation and dread. The whispers, once carried on the wind, now solidified into a chilling truth. Section 5. The Shaman's Shack. A wave of fury, cold and absolute, swept through the village. Torches were brandished like weapons, their flames mirroring the rage that burned in their hearts. They marched as one, a human tide of anger and betrayal, towards Ki Joko's hut at the edge of the village. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of incense and something ancient and unsettling. The shaman's hut, once a place of solace and healing, now loomed before them like a specter, its bamboo walls whispering secrets best left undisturbed. The villagers burst through the flimsy door, their torches casting long, dancing shadows on the walls, adorned with strange symbols and fetishes. The air was thick with the scent of herbs and animal musk, a potent cocktail that spoke of both healing and something far more sinister. Section 6. The Accusation. Ki Joko sat calmly in the center of the hut, his legs crossed beneath him, his eyes closed as if in deep meditation. He didn't flinch at their intrusion, didn't acknowledge the accusations hurled at him like stones. He simply sat there, an eerie calm radiating from him. Pak Harto, his voice trembling with a mixture of fury and disbelief, stepped forward. "Joko!" he boomed, his voice echoing off the bamboo walls. "We found Sari, buried, alive, and she spoke your name. What sorcery is this?" The shaman's eyes opened slowly, fixing on Pak Harto with an intensity that sent a shiver down the elder's spine. "Sari?" he repeated, his voice soft, almost a whisper. "She is a troubled child, prone to flights of fancy. Perhaps this is just another." Section 7. The Gathering Storm. A collective gasp arose from the villagers. Denial. He dared to deny his involvement even now, even with the evidence of his dark magic laid bare. The air crackled with tension, the silence broken only by the hiss of the torches and the pounding of their hearts. "Lies!" a voice cried out from the back of the hut. It was Sari's father, his face a mask of grief and rage. He pushed his way through the crowd, brandishing a small wooden carving in his hand. "We found this buried above where Sari lay." "This is your work, Shaman!" The carving was crude but unmistakable. A small wooden figure, its features twisted into a grotesque parody of a human face. But what chilled them to the bone were the details, the long black hair, the brightly colored dress. It was a doll made in Sari's image. The silence that followed was heavier than any storm cloud. Kai Joko's gaze flickered to the doll, then back to the faces of the villagers, their expressions a mixture of horror and accusation. He knew he could deny it no longer. The truth, like a festering wound, had finally broken free. A sigh escaped his lips, ancient and weary, as if he were releasing a burden he had carried for far too long. "It's true," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "I buried Sari." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. He went on to explain that Sari, filled with youthful curiosity, had stumbled upon his secret grove deep in the forest, a place where he practiced the old ways, the dark magic that flowed through his veins like a poison and a gift. She had seen too much, heard too much. He had panicked. The villagers listened, their faces pale and drawn in the flickering torchlight, as Kai Joko recounted the events of that fateful night. He spoke of his fear, his desperation, his belief that the only way to protect himself, to protect the delicate balance of power he had cultivated for so long, was to silence Sari forever. His confession hung in the air, heavy with regret and the bitter tang of betrayal. Pak Harto, his face etched with the weight of his judgment, spoke for the village. "You have betrayed our trust, Joko. You have brought darkness upon this village." And so, under the pale light of the rising sun, Kijoko was banished. Stripped of his status, his power, his home, he was led away from the village he had protected for so long, his belongings bundled in a rough cloth sack. He walked in silence, his head bowed, accepting his fate. The village of Kampung slowly began to heal. The rice paddies flourished once more, the laughter of children again echoed through the bamboo groves. But the memory of that night, the betrayal, the chilling discovery, lingered like a shadow in their hearts. Sari, though physically unharmed, was forever changed. The trauma of that night had left an invisible scar on her soul, a haunting reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of their world. The villagers rebuilt their lives, but they never forgot the lesson learned. Trust, once broken, is not easily mended, and the unseen forces that govern their world, the whispers of ancient magic and the delicate balance between light and shadow, were treated with a newfound respect bordering on fear. The shaman's hut stood empty, a silent reminder of the darkness that had once threatened to consume them. The wind howled through its dilapidated walls, carrying echoes of ancient chants and forgotten rituals. It became a place to avoid, a symbol of their collective fear. Life in Kampung went on, but it was forever altered. The silence after the storm was a deafening reminder of the price of their newfound wisdom. In hushed whispers, the legend of Ki Joko, the fallen shaman, was passed down. Kampong remained marked by the dark secrets of the Indonesian shaman, a reminder that even in idyllic settings, darkness can lurk in the shadows.